When last we left our intrepid adventurers, we had temporarily saved the world, but our whole campaign was being erased from history, so that would unsave the world after it finished erasing. Probably. It would be bad for us either way. Unless it meant we had better adventures.
Yeah, Calendar never hired you. None of this ever happened.
Yeah, so maybe something better happened. We should investigate now. I think probably we need to sustain everything. So, there were a couple of main ideas that were being kicked around last time. Okay, so we were kicking around some ideas last time at the end of the session. One was some sort of pre-counter-strike against the Time Mages to kill them before they killed Kalinar, so that didn't happen. Push the undo button on the immediate effect. The problem was, we don't know where and when they were striking from, and we don't know exactly how to counter them yet. So, we'd have to do a whole lot of research, and we didn't necessarily have a lot of time, because, ironically enough, yes, not enough time, because Kalinar is going to fade out in 20 hours, and then once he's faded out, we'll have longer than 20 hours, but we'll still have a very strict time limit. The other major idea was do a Butcher of Bracken Ridge on Kalinar and replace him in history with ourselves pretending to be him. We basically ensure that all of Kalinar's actions happen, even though he died years ago.
At least insofar as it affects the party and getting on the quest to go back in time.
Yeah.
So it's critical that they get given the quest that sets them on the way, that they have Panadar, which means they have to steal Panadar because Kalinar won't have stolen it from the secure vault.
Fortunately, we don't have to do it all in that order.
Right.
We can do it in whatever order is best. So we decide we're going to do that because that will at least give us more time to do a more permanent solution on the Time Mages, which could potentially bring Kalinar back anyway. And we tell him this to try and cheer him up a little.
Right.
And make sure he'll help us out.
He's willing to be a good guy and help you guys erase him from the world?
Well, he's already been erased.
He's already erased. But basically he's fine with the plan to save the world, even though that plan doesn't involve saving his life necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, we'll try and do it, even though we hate him. Because we're good people. Probably. But anyway.
Good people-ish.
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
In this history.
I see no
Because
reason
you
to...
have good owners.
Yeah. Because I will be told to do good.
Although I think if Cricket was forced to have evil owners, she'd feel probably pretty sad about what she had to do.
Yeah.
She would still do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She still has her own moral code. It's just overridable.
But in the end, I think that was what people decided to go with, because it was more of a sure thing. They knew they could pull up the Kalinar thing, and whereas the other thing was unknown, and then they could go back and do the stop the Time Mages thing once history was safe and secure.
Right.
So, before we left, though, there were a couple of things that we did right in the immediate. There was a ritual to try and stabilize Kalinar's timeline a bit, give him some more time than 20 hours. And serendipity, Ben Goldstrider Moore, top of our tower, Shepherd Souls, tries to have Doomdelair, succeeded spectacularly on her Arcana check. We got him, a little over a month?
Yeah, 34 days.
34 days. So that was really good. That took a lot of the holy crap pressure off. And the other thing was, we asked the Time Tower the questions. We had the ritual to ask the Time Tower, the Oracle or whatever.
Right.
And we were trying to find out where and when the Time Mages had launched their attacks from. And I can't remember the exact questions, but what we basically learned from it was the Time Mages attacked from multiple time periods, but one physical location, this cave that we're in.
Oh.
And some of them were attacking from the past, and some were attacking from the future.
Okay.
So that puts the kibosh on at least part of Tim's theory about how you don't have to mess with the Time Tower, the Jenga Tower as much if you're shooting through a portal from the past into the future, because you're not affecting your past and stuff. Because there were some Time Mages that were firing into the past. But still, the fact that they're firing through portals is probably helping them somehow.
Right.
Maybe it just means that since they're not physically present in the wrong time zone, their Jenga tower will insta-collapse even if they don't have a Panadar. That could be a reason why they do that. That's something for future investigation, though.
Why in that spot?
Well, they were firing on a thing that was in that spot, so maybe their technique of opening time portals only works going through time, not space. So maybe you have to be at the location where you're wanting to fire on. I think they were doing that with that village they destroyed early in the campaign as well, which we're pretty sure was a trial run that they were doing.
So could you trial run them at the village?
Maybe. This will be for the next step of the campaign after we've stabilized our timeline.
Yeah.
So we're not worried too much about the exact details yet. Though we did contemplate, since some of the time mages are in the future relative to us, we should go and tell the Spellblades, hey, there's these evil cultists that show up in this particular cave and try and do horrible end the world things. You should probably check it out every once in a while, and if you see any of them, you should kill them, because they're awful. So yeah, we considered that. We had to make sure the Spellblades wouldn't clean out the rest of the dungeon, because there were monsters there when we got into dungeon when we were there in the future. So we considered giving them the other end of that teleport pad thing. But in the end, we decided, no, there's going to be too much risk of messing with history. And also, we were starting to contemplate, the next step of our plan. And Serendipity, Van Goldstrom, Lortop, Retire, Shepherd's Shot, Doomdelayer, was plotting out what cracks there were in time locally. So where could we get to? And she discovered there were a lot of cracks in time right where we were, oddly enough, because a major disruption had just happened. And one of them led right to Valneva during a time when Kalinar was out arranging for the stealing of the original Panadar, and he had a copy of the map of the vault that Panadar was in his office. And it's going to fade out of existence in 17 hours.
Right.
And the crack that leads there will disappear in 12 minutes.
Oh.
So we were like, we have to go now.
Yeah.
So we went back to the inn. Oh, what we did first, we hid in a little alcove that made with stone shape. The portal end in the cavern. And that way we'd be able to get back into the cavern easily in the future from this point forward using our other end.
Right.
And you guys did that before you discovered the 12-minute thing. Because you spent a bunch of time, and then you were in the hotel, and you realized you need to get back to that room in 12 minutes.
Yeah. So,
but they didn't want to leave behind the portal end just sitting there. They didn't want to lose it, so they decided they were going to put it in the safe deposit box at the hotel.
So we went to the innkeeper, and we were like, innkeeper, we only have a few minutes. We would like you to put this in the safe deposit box for the next 17 years, please.
And since Robin had no character to play, she played the innkeeper.
Right. And
Sure, yeah.
And we didn't have our ultra diplomat either, so she made us work for that.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't really a problem for him. He was just slow and like, oh yeah, do you want this and do you want that? And
we're all like, holy crap, our portal to the future is closing in 6 minutes.
And then they're like, all right, and he's like, okay, well, and just you'll have to return your room key. And they're like, okay, here it is. And they're like, what? Add your extra. Okay. All right, well, because they said you have to go there in like an hour, collect it up and put it in the safe deposit box. And so they rush back to the room, and they're like, okay, we go in the room. And I'm like, well, the door's locked. You don't have your key.
So I did a thievery check.
It's like down to 5 minutes now.
And I had to pick the lock on our room because we had no time. We jumped on the portal, we reappeared in the cavern, we ran over to wherever the time crack was, and we teleported through the time crack. Due to a miscommunication, John thought we were time portaling to Allenway in that time period, not Valneva. And so as soon as we arrived, I was like, okay, now we got to get to Valneva. Oh wait, we have 17 hours to get to Valneva from Allenway. There's no way. But it turns out no, the time crack actually went to Valneva. So yeah, the trick is we were asking Kalinar, like, okay, we're gonna have to steal Panadar, and we don't need to do that right away, but we only have 17 hours before the time streams change and you're dead, as far as the rest of the world is concerned. You'll be alive for a little while longer because we've stabilized you.
But all the effects of his life are in 20 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do we need before all of your work fades out of existence? He was like, well, you're gonna need that map. So we're in Valneva. We're about, what did you say? It was a couple months before the campaign starts?
Yeah. You haven't been thrown another crack yet, although they may have drugged and kidnapped some of you.
Yeah. So Kalinar explained that what he did is he got a map. He figured out a map of the vault, and then he hired a bunch of rubes,
They have to be good, like,
good rubes.
yeah, people who are good. Each one had their own unique
Yeah.
talent for pulling off a heist.
Yeah.
He started describing the one shot that I had been intending to run but never did.
And probably for the best, because he betrayed you at the end.
Well, he had this thing where he hired these guys. Then he went to the Spellblades, who was a part of it. He's like, hey, I heard wind through my
Grapevine
clandestine
and stuff.
stuff that there's some people that are going to try to break into the vault, but they'll trust me. How about I infiltrate them and help them break in, and then I'll
Arrest
turn
him
them
at
in.
the end, yeah.
And so they're fine with that. So they break in, they get the thing. In the process, he swaps the Panadar for a fake Panadar, puts it in the striped box, puts it on his person. Then, at the end, he betrayed his heisters to the Spellblades, who took them away, put the fake Panadar back in the vault, locked them in jail. But of course, since he's good, he gave them all these items at the beginning they would need, and one of them was like a special magic item they could hide on their tooth, and by pressing it, it like portals them out of jail. So they're all out of jail. They can't go back to Valneva. They get paid. Their money was there. They got paid. They can't go back to Valneva. The cops think that they won and put the thing back in, and he has Panadol.
Kalinar claims that he gave them this magic tooth thing and brought them their money and all that kind of stuff. We know Kalinar has an ultra bluff score. They're probably rotting in jail right now. Yeah. Or at least for the next 17 hours, after which they'll have never met Kalinar and will probably be for the better for it. So,
Although originally the plan was that the party has to copy the blueprints before they cease to exist. Then they'll have a copy that won't cease to exist. But originally the party was going to do the heist, but then they realized because Kalinar is alive for 34 days, once the effects of his life cease to exist, he might be able to rehire the same guys and do the same thing over again before he ceases to exist.
but it wouldn't work because the rest of the Spellblades wouldn't know that Kalinar was still alive. They'd think he's dead.
That's right. I forgot about that part.
So we wouldn't be able to do the exact reproduction of the heist anyway.
Right, and that's why they were gonna try to do exactly the same thing, but yeah, it won't work because it was all based on him being totally trusted by the Spellblades.
Yeah. So we're just going to have to steal it the old-fashioned way.
Right.
With no inside man. But we have a map of the vault. That's good. It probably won't be 100% accurate because it's a map of a vault that's like on a 17-year spur line from the original timeline. So there's probably going to be some surprises in there.
Kalinar also has memories.
We don't know if he's still going to be with us when we do the heist.
Okay.
We can't rely on that. It would be nice. It would be awesome if we could have him along on the heist.
I mean, either way, you can annotate down whatever he knows, but
Yeah. But he may have been dead for 17 years by the time we do the heist. But we don't have to do the heist right away, which is good because it's going to be the toughest part of this whole routine. First thing we got to do is hire ourselves. We don't need the Panadar for that. We just need the box.
Right.
And we've got the box. He gave it to us way back then.
and it's totally scribe proof, and they know they never opened it until at least the part where they lost it.
Yeah.
So as long as they can intercept it during that part, they can take the box, take out the dummy thing, and put the real thing in.
At this point, we're not sure if there was ever actually a Stanley. Maybe it was one of us.
Stanley's the guy who stole the box.
Yeah. So it could be that we stole the box from ourselves and drove ourselves nuts. And, we'll probably be able to have Kalinar do all the sending stuff.
Well, you'll have to because Stanley was actually hired by Kalinar, right? Like that whole thing was a setup by him.
Yeah.
To make you think he had stolen the box, and it was all great until Stanley got killed mysteriously, and then the Drow got the box. So you will have to impersonate Stanley, or you'll at least have to hire him.
We'll hire Stanley. He didn't get killed, did he? I thought we rescued him.
You don't know what happened to him, actually. He left with the box, and you never
I
saw
love
him
the
again.
idea that Cricket could be Stanley.
I thought we tracked him down.
Oh yeah. You tracked him down in the sewers.
Yeah.
Got him out of there.
Saved him
And then
from
General
Nicholas.
Sanderson was like, "Yeah, I'll take the box for safekeeping, but it was, but then she betrayed you to jail. You later found out she was a doppelganger. Then she busted Stanley out of jail, and he disappeared, and you never saw him again. And next thing you know, the box turned up with a Drow. And it was right around then that Kalinar started freaking out a lot more. You didn't really realize it at the time, but he was like freaking out a bit, but it was totally a bluff.
Yeah.
And then like something happened that you don't know about, and suddenly he started freaking out for real. But yeah, you could just hire Stanley.
Yeah. Unless when we go to hire him, we find he's not there, and then we have to impersonate him. That'd be hilarious. But yeah.
Stanley Cricket, level
So-
4 security guard.
We could do all of that and set all of the pieces in motion, and then we'll have to go and steal the Panadar. And during the time when the box is out of the party's possession, put in the real Panadar. And then that should do it. That should,
Complete the loop.
yeah.
Well, and you got to send all the letters. And all
Now,
that stuff.
Kalinar did show up.
Yeah, you're gonna have to meet
Yeah.
yourselves in Allen Way and give yourself the quest to go into the path.
Yeah.
But I think you can probably get away with not accompanying the party. I'll probably pull some Jenga blocks.
Yeah. Kalinar didn't really participate in the adventure all that much because the DM kept forgetting he was there.
And I didn't want to play a
Yeah.
DM PC, so I was like, whatever. He's just not part of this or whatever.
So once we finished all that, our timeline should be stable again, and then we will be able to spend time and effort hunting time mages and trying to prevent them from having caused us to do all this hassle in the first place. So we're in Valneva. We go up to the building where Kalinar's office is. Kalinar is off on a business trip right now. I think he's hiring the guys, right? So we just go up to the office, and Kalinar is with us, and so he tells and Kalinar is like, "Hey, I've brought these friends here. I vouch for them. I'm going up to my office." And she's all like, "Oh, I thought you were out hiring ne'er-do-wells or whatever." She doesn't know where he is, but she thought he was out.
Oh no, everything's fine. I'm back now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High bluff check.
Ultra bluff.
No, but you're not allowed to bring in outsiders. Oh, it's okay. They're with me.
Ultra bluff. So we go up to his office, and there's this random NPC in his office. All like, "Oh, I'm important" and stuff.
Yeah, Tyler, nice of you to show up.
Yeah, it's this exotic Zarib gentleman with like,
It's like a
this
pet dog, like a pet, like desert
wolf thing.
Yeah.
And he's got this exotic accent that was, what did I describe it as? Scottish Punjabi or something. It had this, it was a very strange combination. Robin was playing the NPC, and she was attempting to do a exotic Arabian accent.
Right.
And she settled into it after a bit, but initially it was kind of weird. But anyway,
It's kind of Scottish.
yeah, a little bit of Scottish in there, which I'd be fine with desert Scots. It would be an interesting thing. But
No, I think he wants some notes.
I definitely.
so there's this Zarib guy. Now I wrote down his name, but what was his name? It was
I think it's Hassan Ben Jarad.
Hassan Ben Jarad. Yes, that sounds very familiar. And
He had a beef with Kalinar because
major beef.
before the final quest Kalinar went on, he had hired his father to take him to some mineral deposits for the
You don't have him.
uranium they needed for the anti-doppelganger grenades, and they had signed a contract that if his father died and if the guy died, then they would have to pay him all this money, and he did die, but Kalinar never paid him.
Right. Because that's Kylenar.
Well, mainly just because he was busy with other stuff, and also his whole party died, and he went off. And anyway, Kalinar's excuse was, "Look, I was going to pay you, but I had other things I was doing." And this Jarad proceeded to tell him about how, like,
without the father doing
without the
breadwinning.
income, his sisters were sold off to be child brides. One of them died in childbirth, and basically
his mother
everything
died, and it was awful.
basically everything about his family totally sucked because he never got paid, and he's been tracking Kalinar
Right.
this whole time.
Yeah, and Kalinar is like, oh.
Yeah, Kalinar felt bad, but he was also kind of like, well, I was busy with other things. And he got out the contract. Now, meanwhile, the party is freaking out because for some reason I think they got in their head. At least Shannon got in her head that instead of 17 hours, you had 17 minutes. So she was like panicking.
May have been. I didn't think that. It must have been Shannon.
Yeah, I think it was mainly Shannon was panicking that we were like losing our only seconds with this guy when really it was like they had 17 hours.
Right.
So serendipity. Then goes on. Wanted to cast calm emotions. And in order to cast that ritual, you have to speak with the person for a minute. And Shannon interpreted that to be like she had to be speaking for a minute. Meanwhile, Robin is playing Assam bin Jarad, and she is a never-ending stream of speech. And so they get into this speech combat where Shannon is trying to get a minute's worth of word in edgewise, and I'm timing. And then finally she manages to get a minute's worth of time in edgewise and cast calm emotions. And now everyone has to be calm about all this, because there's been a lot of raised, heated voices and stuff like that. And I can't remember, after the calm emotions, did Assam bin Jarad give us the time to go and grab the, like, tell...
No, it wasn't
like,
until after. 'Cause he was already... I think he was calm to the extent of a calm emotions. Like, he wasn't about to jump up and attack anyway, so...
Yeah.
She didn't know that, but I think it was largely unnecessary.
We did get the map. That's the thing I'm thinking of. How did that...
That was after Jarad had been satisfied.
Yeah.
Because...
Oh,
so
yeah,
first Kalnar...
the knife, the dagger.
Yeah,
Right.
Kalnar went to his safe and got the contract, which was wrapped in a knife, a dagger, which Jarad was very happy to see because it was his family's ceremonial dagger. And Kalnar had promised that he would pay him back, but he just had to, like...
Had to do this thing with these guys first.
Yeah,
just
something
real
like
quick,
that.
Just real quick.
And Jarad was like, no, wherever you go, I'm going. I don't trust you at all. So... That was
so we're starting to think about how are we going to ditch this Arad guy. And then Kalnar gets the map out, hid it under a floorboard, not in the safe.
Right.
And serendipity, he uses Abduis is copying the map onto a different paper that isn't about to fade out of existence. Time's funny that way, isn't it? And that's when the Warforged burst in. And the Warforged, the big combat squad of them, burst in the door, and they see everyone in the room, and they go, what? They hesitate for a moment because they're surprised by an unexpected situation.
Right.
This has never happened before.
The Warforged are never... They always expect
when they come
everything.
bursting in to mess with our stuff, they're always like, okay, we know exactly who's going to be in the room and what we have to do and all that.
Where they're going to move,
This time, they were completely startled. And one of them was like, asked the squad leader or whatever, it's like, okay, they weren't supposed to be here. What do we do? And the squad leader is like, I don't know. Let's attack them, and if it turns out they're tough, we'll negotiate with them. All right.
So they were there to kill Jarad.
Yes, it turns out they were there for Jarad. I don't know if they were there to kill him or not.
But Kalnar had never met him before.
Yeah.
So in the original timeline, when he came back from this thing to go to hire the people, he came back and his office had been ransacked and there was no sign of why.
Right.
And he never met Jarad.
Okay. So did the party just sell Jarad to the Warforged?
No, because the Warforged were going to attack us first. And then if we were tough, then they would negotiate with us.
Okay.
So they all focused fire on Cricket. And they won initiative too.
Yeah, that's unusual because Serendipity's initiative is so high, and we just do group initiative. But I rolled a 20 on the initiative.
Oh.
It made all the difference.
Yeah.
So they just came in and they had this ability. They attack you, and if they hit, they push you and shift a square as they hit. And they have a move ability where they push you, no save or anything, and you shift into your square. So at first, Croesus tries to be at the front, but they just all come in the room and push everyone to the edges, push Croesus out of the way, and then just hammer on Cricket.
Yep, they dropped everything on Cricket, took her to 0. She went down.
And now the party does not have 2 healers.
Yep.
Right.
There's no more Aurora.
So, then this is the party's turn. Who was it? Hank that fed Cricket a potion, or no? Ben Jarad.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I asked Robin, "Do you have a character sheet under all those papers?" There, and she's like, "Yes." And she pulls out Ben Jarad's character sheet.
Right.
And it was hilarious because until then, I wasn't even sure. I thought she was just playing some random obstructionist NPC that had showed up, and and we were all seriously talking about how do we ditch this guy? How do we get him?
It was interesting because it didn't, usually when there's a new character introduced, people just kind of gloss over the stuff they would normally do, we're about to go into the final dungeon in this secret mission, and this new guy showed up. Okay, you can come into our confidence.
Yeah.
But
That's what you have to do.
He's
got the yellow exclamation part
Yeah.
above his head.
But Ben Gerard didn't get any of that benefit of the doubt at all. They were just trying to like shut him up and get rid of him.
Well, she'd already played NPCs in the
Right.
session up to that point, so we weren't sure.
Yeah, she asked to be able to play NPCs so that it would make it less obvious, and
Yeah.
she was purposely
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
So I think it was Benjerod that fed Cricket a healing potion, and then there was some more. Was it Serendipity had some awesome thing that pushed everyone back out again?
Yeah, I mean, Croesus and Hank did some. No, Croesus did some hitting stuff,
Yeah.
and then Serendipity did a thing that pushed everyone out the door, like just pushed them out the door, and made them all hit each other. And I don't know. I have to look into this, but
Yeah, I think
she
it
has
was
two
way
new abilities
overpowered.
that are both basically it hits a large area. There's no attack roll. All the enemies get shifted like 3 squares, push 3 squares, and they all have to attack each other. No like.
Yeah, it's way powerful.
No save. I guess like the idea maybe is that each of them is making an attack roll. So,
Yeah, I guess.
But
But no saves.
well, I guess if they miss, then. But if they miss, well, the one of them nothing happens, but the other one, if they miss, they take 15 damage. So like either I hit you or I miss and I take 15 damage.
Yeah.
And there's like no attack.
There's got to
or
be some
anything.
kind of defense against that. It seems overpowered.
I didn't look at it, but I know. I mean, Tim took a second look at it, and he's like, "Huh, yep, that's what it says." So,
We'll investigate that.
if it's balanced, I don't mind it too much. Although, actually, just like practically speaking, as a GM, it's really annoying because she casts that, and then I just have to sit there rolling against myself for like 5 minutes, and it's like I hate doing that because I feel like everyone's like watching me as I'm trying to rush.
Right. Yeah. Just make the players roll.
And then all
I should
the
make a
Warforged, all the Warforged were back outside the door again. So Ben Gerard did this thing that made a wall of stone appear in front of the door. And they were going to be able to bust through it in a round. But there's a window in the room. And so we're like, okay,
No, I'm done. Thank you.
run away. We're heroes. We got places to be and things to do. Bravely run away.
The biggest point of debate on that though was like Hank ran up there, did all this stuff, and then the wall of stone appeared, and everyone's like, "Let's run away!" And he's like, "But I just drank a potion of invincibility."
All that delicious XP is right there.
No, we don't use XP. Which is unfortunate because we killed a level 27 solo elite controller thingy last session.
And that'll teach him. So they have a ton of consumables now because they were able to loot the level 30 party or whatever it was, high epic party. They all got nukes. And they got items, but then they also got tons and tons of consumables because everyone ends the campaign with 1 million consumables you never used, right? Mm-hmm. And so now the party has tons of consumables, and Hank used one, and it was wasted. So he learned to save it till the end. But yeah, I think pretty much just decided they're going to try to run away. I mean, the combat won't necessarily be instantly over because they'll try to pursue, but I think they're probably a pretty good chance of getting away.
Yeah. The wall of stone is going to buy us a round. It'll take them about that long to smash it down. And that'll get us out of the room. And then it'll all be a matter of just running. We could try, I don't know, tripping Ben Gerard to slow down the pursuers. But
I wish that character sheet hadn't come out for like another couple sessions.
Well.
That'd been great.
she was involved in actual combat, so.
She was.
I mean, she could have had a stat block.
She was gonna try to do that. I was surprised, like, because she first on her round she just helped pick it up and gave her a potion, and then she was like, I don't think I'm gonna do anything else.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? You're not gonna do anything else? She's like, all right, fine. And pulled out her character sheet. She was gonna try to keep it till next session. But
Then again, if she kept it going, it wouldn't be long until the party found a way to ditch her.
Yeah.
yeah,
It just backfires, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
A
I mean,
relatively high-level party can get rid of somebody if they want to.
it had already backfired somewhat because she had this whole plan of her opening speech, and then Serendipity
It
was
was
doing this
like-
thing that was totally ruining it.
Yeah, she had this big opening speech, and we're like, not now, NPC. PC business going on. Plot stuff.
There's
quiet.
literally nothing you have to say that's more important than my tinkering over you.
Yeah. Just wait a few hours. Your history's going to be rewritten anyway.
I'll read the journal later. I don't care.
Yeah, I know you spent 17 years tracking down Kalinar, but it turns out that, that never happened.
Sounds like a waste of 17 years.
Yeah.
He was here right all along.
Yeah, and he's just about to fade out of existence, so you'll have spent 17 years finding out that he died 17 years ago. Sorry about that.
Fortunately, now he's tied up with Panadar, so...
Yeah.
Warforged? This is a private conversation we're having here. Get out! I said out!
Well, we have a complicated plan to make everything happen exactly as it did. It's so hard running in place. But, we're getting really close now. We're getting really close to a time frame where I'm allowed to contact the High Priestess of the Temple of Freedom. We're just, what now? Less than a year away. We fell a year short. I'm sure we'll get there eventually, though. Anyway, yes, next up we have to send ourselves on that stupid quest that I hated all that time. Oh well.
So, I remember back when we lost Aderon, and then as soon as he was gone, Serendipity showed up. And the same thing's happening now. We just lost Aurora, and now there's this Zareb guy, and it's like, I don't know, something about the timeline wants us to always have 5 people in our group. I mean, well, 4 people in cricket, but you know what I mean. And, it's funny how that works. I wonder why that is.
Oh, I have finally been reunited with my family's dagger. I knew my father was dead, but now I will be able to hear the story of his death. And I swear I will stay with this Kalinar until I know that he will do well by my family, and to help him realize how the actions he takes, but also the ones he does not take, impact others. In fact, they could impact the whole world. I swear I will stay with him until he learns this. Also, these people are very strange.
Okay, when I said 5 individuals, I guess I wasn't including Kalinar or that cat that sometimes turns into Rovain for some reason. But I guess I'm including just, people that fight with us. And this guy seems like he'll be a pretty good fighter. He's got the daggers. He's got that rock wall thing that made me waste my potion of invulnerability. That thing was it wasn't, I didn't have to pay a lot of money for it. I found it on the charred corpses of Kalinar's friends. But I got my old sword back from 2 lifetimes ago. I guess that's cool. Maybe I'll stop talking now because I'm making everything sound horrible.
Just when I thought I had seen all the kinds of crazy, I run into one of the outside races who actually knows what a promise means. And it's Kalinar's promise, and I feel a certain obligation to keep it. And, keeping promises made by the other races for him, I guess that's just one more thing for me to fix. I've got a lot of work to do, and I can't even make up my mind as to whether this is a dream or not. I was trying to explain to him how it's been, except it hasn't been a dream. But it has to have been. I don't. It's so hard to think sometimes. I don't understand.
So, this guy at least seems to be a dog person, so that's some points in my good book. Yeah, I think we're gonna get along just fine.